With Lab of Doom going on right now in Zola's App 2 for 2020, I kind of wanted to take the time to actually tell you guys the story of where the heck Lab of Doom came from, basically how we came up with it, and why it's been happening every year since, well, 2016 on May 1st. And that's what I will be doing in this week's Saturday Stories. And yeah, guys, it is going to be epic. And with all of that being said, I apologize for not doing a Saturday Stories for the last 3 weeks. I just want to get that out there now by just saying, sorry about that. I just kind of forgot. But don't worry, I'm back on track now, and I do have the next 3 weeks of Saturday Story already planned out, so you can bet to see a story every Saturday for the next 3 weeks, and then obviously every week after that, as long as I keep coming up with new stories. But basically, getting back to our main topic here, Lab of Doom, guys. You have been seeing this event every year in the lab since, well, technically you didn't originally see the 2016 one. I mean, in the footage you are seeing right now, this is from Lab of Doom 2019. But it was looking like Lab of Doom 2016 as I traveled back to that in Phase 6 of last year's Lab of Doom. Now then, I will also be taking the time to explain Lab of Doom 2016 and basically all its phases. But first, before we do that, and by the way, speaking of phases of every year of Lab of Doom, speaking of every Lab of Doom we've done, for the next 3 weeks after this one, it will be all about every Lab of Doom we have done in Zola's App 2 over the last 4 years, due to Lab of Doom currently going on in Zola's App 2 right now. And I feel it would be the perfect time to finally just tell you guys about them, even though you already know about them. But there might be some hidden detail you probably did not know that I will reveal to you in this video about Lab of Doom. For each of them, of course. But before we talk about 2016, let's talk about where the heck the event itself mainly even came from and how we came up with it in the first place. So, let's do this. So basically, the deal is, Evil Leader basically, he was doing a bunch of attacks on Zola's App 2 for 5 months, 6 months straight. For example, he made Sheep Evil as his first attack, then basically he also decoyed the lab, made a lava machine, trapped us in a dome, did a war, just all these huge attacks on CL2. But then he realized that he could quite literally make an entire event mainly out of just doing attacks. Evil Leader realized that after doing all these attacks, he kind of realized that he actually could make an event in Zola's Lab 2 based off of pretty much any of his attacks. And granted, that did happen in November 2019, but that's different. And I'm not even talking about that. Probably after talking about all of the Lab Gems. Comment down below if you actually want to see the history of how I came up with Operation ESL. You guys want to see that story? Because if you do, that would be the next story on... That would be, I believe, June 13th? Because the next 3 stories is May 23rd, 30th, and June 6th are all about Lab of Doom. But if you want to see a story about Operation ESL on June 15th, comment down below if you want to see that. Anyway, getting back on topic. So yeah, basically, Evil Leader thought to himself, that he can make an entire event in Zola's Lab 2 with a ton of attacks destroying in the lab all at once. And in total, he made 6 of them to begin with in 2016. Now, first off, you're wondering, where did he get the name Lab of Doom? Well, basically, basically all his attacks are evil, right? Yep, all of his attacks are literally evil. And, well, yeah, that's obviously despite his name is Evil Street Leader, but, oh, I might even make another story of how he even came up with that name, actually, of Evil Street Leader. Do you want to see that? Actually, I'll probably include that in Operation Evil Street Leader story if you guys want to see that. Guys, there's a lot I could really tell you guys about Evil Street Leader, because you guys probably don't even know half of it. I mean, maybe you might. Hint, Cool Cut 33. I don't know if you even know about it, but I might describe it someday. Not only to you, but all of you guys watching the video. Anyway, back to the main topic. Sorry if I keep getting distracted here. I just want to inform you guys about that. Anyway, back to our topic. So you're probably wondering, how did Evil Street Leader come up with the name of Lavdoom? Basically, the deal is, again, he has all these huge destructive attacks. And, of course, it's being done at the lab. Basically, at this point. So, basically the deal is, since all this destructive stuff is happening at Zoids Lab 2, for example, ongoing right now is the 2020 Lab of Doom, which Phase 2 is currently taking over right now, the lava machine, as of recording this video, of course. But basically, since all of his attacks were taking place in ZL2, which is, of course, a lab, and there is the name Destruction in there, but I feel like he wanted to come up with something better, he decided to call this huge event that he made all of his attacks in called Lab of Doom, just because technically all those attacks would basically be like doomed to the lab, basically. Basically, yeah, all those attacks, like, the lab would be doomed if it got destroyed. So, like, basically, yeah, basically, yeah, like, the lab would be, like, you know, the lab would be, doomed if it was for all those attacks. And technically, still today, that is true, because currently the lab is still being under attack right now as of recording this. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, basically the lab would be doomed, and mainly to say in danger. So, technically he came up with the name because, one, he's destroying the lab, and two, the attacks, like, doom the lab entirely. Like the lab is literally doomed, with all these attacks. Like Lab Doom meaning like the lab would not survive any of the attacks. That's basically what I'm trying to say here. So that's the main reason of how Lab Doom was even the name of this huge thing. And if you're wondering why it came back so many times, we'll get to that later. But first, before I say why we brought it back so many times, I'm pretty sure the reason is obvious, but there could be other reasons behind it. Now, look. I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably thinking, why was this thing even came up in the first place? Yeah, you're probably thinking, like, why would ESL probably just come up with this in the first place, even though he would clearly lose? Indeed, he has lost the past 4 Lab Dooms. And he will again in this year's, I guarantee you, because we will be shutting down all of his security on June 4th in his Sky Fortress, that's one hint, by doing another phase. Anyway, back on track. So, basically, yes. Basically, Lab Doom was a form where ESL could send multiple attacks of his at once, but in 5 different phases, or 6, counting if this was 2016 or 2019, or even 2020. Now then, first off, in 2016 there were 6 phases. And in 2019, there were also 6 phases. And now, in 2020, there are also 6 phases. Guess which ones were the only ones not to have a 6th phase? Yep, 2017 and 2018. Although I guess you could count Evil Street Leader's battle. I guess it's the sixth phase, but technically they weren't attacked itself. It was just the final battle. But basically, what else do I need to say? Oh, right. I'm going to tell you guys why Lab Doom has been coming back every year for the past 3 to 4 years. Now, yeah, again, you're probably curious. You're probably going to ask right now, why did Lab of Doom come back so many times? Well, that's what I'm going to tell you now. So, the reason, guys, is why Lab of Doom came back so many times, and still is today, because it's currently going on in ZL2 right now. Obviously, as you can see, I am not in the lab. This is obviously footage from Lab of Doom 2019, which I time traveled back to 2016 Lab of Doom. So, again, I'm not at the lab right now. I don't even have Minecraft open, which is a good thing, seeing as it's like 11:10 at night, although I'm pretty sure I'm probably wrong. Is it 11:10 at night? No, it's 11:19! Man, with this TV screen, I can barely see what time it is. Yeah, it is 11:19 at night as I'm recording this video, so that is insane. Sorry about also not uploading all day, guys. I'll explain why in tomorrow's Sunday vlog. And that is my next upload, by the way. Anyway, the point is, so the reason why Lab of Doom came back so many times is, first off, for the most obvious reason, Evil Sheet Leader lost the first one. And, like, yeah, he literally lost the first Lab Doom, which is obvious because he's lost the rest of them so far, except for this one in 2020 so far, but that will obviously be done. Now, just because he lost, and also because he loved doing the first one, he decided to, you know what? First, because he lost, and because he loved destroying the lab with many attacks at the same time, he decided to, you know what? Let's do it again a year later, in the exact same month, and the exact same day, but with different attacks. So basically, Evil Sheet Leader wanted to bring it back mainly just because every year, like, he could think of way better attacks. And that's kind of what he's done over the last 2 to 3 years, seeing as we did in 2017. Now, that's not to say that 2017 was perfect, and yes, we will get to that one next week for how it all went down. So yeah, basically, again, the reason why it was brought back every year was because Evil Sheet Leader lost every single time, and he loved doing the event so much that every year he could just come up with new ways to destroy the lab all at once. And yeah, so that's kind of the reason why it keeps coming back every year, is because ESL just he just loved doing the event so much that he just liked bringing it back every year. And there is one next year, if you are curious, because next year is the 5th anniversary of Lab of Doom on May 1st, 2021. But that's next year. Actually, a year from now, basically. Next year, this month next year, will be the 5th anniversary of Lab of Doom. Anyway, so now that I've explained why Lab of Doom came back every year, again, because of those two reasons, he just loved doing the event so much, and he lost every single time. Mainly the first one. Okay, so now that I have gotten all of that out of the way, let's move on to, well, there's also another explanation. You're probably curious, why was each phase coming out only once a week? Well, there is a reason behind this, and I know you guys probably aren't curious about that, but I'm just still going to explain it anyway. So, the reason why each phase only comes out once a week is because it gives ESL enough time to prepare for the next one. And yeah, like it gives Evil Sheet Leader enough time to prepare for the next attack, and it gives them time to set it all up to be prepared for when the actual next attack comes out. So normally he only has, like, he usually would just take like a week to hopefully get the whole phase all set up to make sure it actually destroys the lab. And I gotta say, that actually is true because if you have realized recently with the recent lava machine in Phase 2 of Lava Doom 2020 and the Equalizer as Phase 1 of this year's Lava Doom, you might have realized that he actually kind of destroyed the lab a little bit, actually. Oh, and that's also going to be the same case throughout the next few weeks, by the way. Just in case you are curious. But, oh yeah, also, fun fact. Speaking of what is in the footage, the Lab of Doom HQ, and yes, that is granted to come back later on in this year's Lab of Doom. But speaking of the Lab of Doom HQ, hence its name, that is actually where this whole HQ was introduced in Lab of Doom 2016, which unfortunately the original is corrupted now. But I'm planning to bring back the original one that you're seeing in the footage right now. Probably sometime next week, maybe when Phase 3 comes out. I don't know, but it will definitely be coming back before Lab of Doom is over. And will be staying there permanently, except for the room not being accessible after it's over. Alright, so I guess now that I've explained the whole purpose of why Lab of Doom even exists, how we came up with it, why it comes back every year, I guess now it's time to talk about the first ever Lab of Doom. And yeah, that is insane because I'm literally going to pull up the footage right now. I'm literally scrolling down the footage to find it, and yep, found it. Alright, let me just put the screen here. There we go. Alright! Lab of Doom 2016. How did the first ever Lab of Doom turn out? Well, thanks to me traveling back in time on June 5th, 2019, to technically exactly 3 years before on June 5th, 2016, that gave me the ability to show you guys the original Lab of Doom. And if it wasn't for me doing that, this footage would never have existed. So, yay for me! But really, let's get back on topic. So yeah, basically the deal is Lab of Doom 2016. I'll even explain how long it went, even though I already told you guys about all the Lab of Dooms. There are probably some clear things you probably did not know about each. I'll even tell you the dates. This Lab of Doom was actually the longest Lab of Doom to ever occur. And I mean seriously. The longest Lab of Doom ever. It started on May 1st, hence when the event was originally fully introduced and released. So that day will be remembered as the Lab of Doom introducement/release day. And it ended all the way on June 9th, which is when the special labs originally opened, hence their return a few weeks before, 2 weeks ago on April 30th. Now, again, like I just said, the point of Lab of Doom is to have a ton of attacks by ELC Leader all go out at once, but in 5 to 6 separate weeks. Just because it took a while for each phase to come out because they were so big, and ESO needed to make sure they could actually destroy the lab. So that's why every phase only came out once a week, because ESO needed to make sure that they destroy the lab. And if ESO released a phase at least maybe a few days early, it probably wouldn't have destroyed the lab. So, yeah. Anyway. Phase 1, if you remember correctly, was, well, I think we can guess it. It was, hold on, let me pull up the footage. It was the pool party, which was probably the dumbest phase ever. ESL is way too smart to bring it back, by the way, just in case any of you were clearly curious. And Yep, that was on May 1st. Now, a little fun fact about Lab of Doom 2016 and 2017. This only mainly occurred in Lab of Doom 2016, but basically the deal was like, I'm glad we don't do it anymore because that was kind of weird. It kind of offsetted each phase. So I'm glad this only happened in 2016 and a tiny bit in 2017, maybe for like the first two phases. But basically the phases, you know how all the phases come out. The first one is on May 1st, the second one is on May 8th, the third one is on May 15th, the fourth one is on May 22nd, the fifth one is on May 29th, and if there is a sixth phase, hence this one being having one, that would be June 5th. But get this, for the entire Lab of Doom 2016, all of them came out 2 days early. What the frick? I thought ESL said that he would only release them on the exact days to make sure that they would destroy the lab. Well, I guess in 2016, his inventions were complete early, and I guess he wanted to release them just because he was done with them so early. Wow, aren't we glad we don't do that now, because we want to pertain to the main schedule of Lab of Doom. And no, we are never releasing any phases of Lab of Doom ever before their original release date ever again. That's one of the things we did after this one. So yeah, that's a little fun fact. Another fun fact, which now did return in 2020, ESL Sky Fortress, which is a thing that, again, I just said returned now in 2020, but was a little bit different. I can't remember the exact way that the base looked, but it definitely did have a lot of security in it. And I also still need to know what's put in the middle of that empty spot in ESL Sky Fortress of 2020. That's besides the point. Oh, and actually, this is a perfect way to say Phase 2. Phase 2 of Lab of Doom 2016 was the UFO being attacked by meteors. And that's where the meteor concept was introduced for the next 4 Lab of Dooms. Well, actually, the next 3, basically, after this one, because the meteor did not return in 2020, as pretty much all the phases in Lab of Doom 2020 are completely different from each other. And yes, I know you just saw this footage earlier in the video. I'm replaying the footage. By the way, in case you probably can easily see, I am replaying the footage. But yeah, Phase 2 on May 8th. Well, now I just revealed that that would be like June... no, that would be May 6th. But yeah, I guess we can release those 2 days early. But I'll still say May 8th. For the real point. Yeah, the UFO was attacked by meteors on May 8th. And Phase 3, I cannot remember, but it was released on May 15th. So I immediately went to Phase 4 of Lab of Doom 2016. So, yeah, Lab of Doom 2016 Phase 4 on May 22nd. Basically was the Freezatron, which also got the inspiration for the Freezatron in later Lab of Doom, which the Freezatron has only returned twice in Lab of Doom. Actually, it only returned once, and that was in 2017, and it has never been seen again, all the way until Operation ESL in November 2019. But I think that might actually return one day as just a small attack by ESL one day. We don't know. But also alongside this Wrangle part, oh, actually, yes, hold on, sorry, meant to say Wrangle Party 2016, because during the first 2 weeks of Lab of Doom, basically, I want to say here that, that Lab of Doom, that the Wrangle Party actually, quite literally, was held during the first 2 weeks of Lab of Doom for probably no reason. And I also guess that's kind of what inspired it to come back in later years. And by the way, there is one for Zoids Up 2 this coming August. But basically, back to the point. So after the Freezatron, we actually had, basically in point, I guess you would say it's the rainstorm. No, the thunderstorm. There we go. It was on May 29th, 2016. And yeah, basically ESO made a thunderstorm all over the lab and mainly all over the world itself. So, the lab got dark, and I mean real dark. So, yeah. Anyway, there we go. And then, I guess the last phase of Lab of Doom 2016 before going to the Sky Fortress was quite literally, well, you guys know the deal. Oh, come on, guys. It was the ultimate laser. Assuming I even got footage of it. Oh, and actually, also the underground party room was destroyed in this event. But where the heck is the ultimate laser part? Oh, there it is. Yep, phase 6 on June 5th, 2016, which is what I time traveled back to in 2019, on the exact day. That was the ultimate laser, which basically cut through 5 blocks of the lab ceiling. That was pretty bad. And I don't think the ultimate laser has been seen since. Yep, the ultimate laser has not been seen since. And I don't know if it'll ever come back. Maybe it could come back in this year's Lab of Doom if I decide to put it in somewhere. Comment below if you actually want me to do that. Even though I already have a lot scheduled. But yeah, that's besides the point. Anyway, that was kind of it for Lab of Doom 2016. So, in conclusion, Lab of Doom is an ongoing event that goes on every May since 2016. It pretty much has never changed at all aside from all the phases and also the dates. I mean, the only thing that has changed ever since 2016 for Lab of Doom is one, the phases, aka attacks, that go on every week of the event. Also, the end date gets changed every year. The start date never got changed. Well, that was until this year in 2020 when we finally decided to change the start date from May 1st to May 7th. Yes, after 4 years, we finally decided to change the start date actually after 4 years. Although I'm pretty sure that's probably the only time we're going to be doing that because next year is half a decade since Lab of Doom officially was a thing. And yeah, anyway, besides that point, guys, thank you for watching this week's episode of Saturday Stories. I am going to be back to you all next Saturday with more awesome Lab of Doom fun facts. And yeah, it's going to be fun to hear. So, yeah, that is just amazing, guys. So I'll be back again in the next few weeks with all of the Lab of Doom videos. I mean, next week we'll be going through Lab of Doom 2017. Then on May 30th, which is 2 weeks from today, we will be going through Lab of Doom 2018. Then on June 6th, 2020, we will be going through Lab of Doom 2019. And if you want me to go through Operation ESL and also tell you how Evil Shit Leader got his name. That could be on June 13th if you guys want it. But yeah, guys, with all that being said, unfortunately, this is my only video today. Sorry that I did not get a Legos Island episode out today. I know there were supposed to be daily episodes of Legos Island all the way until May 29th. Wow. Anyway, I'll explain in tomorrow's Sunday vlog why I did not upload all the way until now. Because, yeah, I mean, it's not even that much of a huge reason, but I'll just explain it in tomorrow's Sunday vlog, which unfortunately will have to be in my room again. I mean, that's obvious. Or it could just be somewhere else in my house, I don't know. But yeah, it's definitely 100% my house, for, obvious reasons. Anyway, yeah. See you guys tomorrow for a Sunday vlog. 2 missions worth of the adventure party on Legos Island. So today's mission and tomorrow's missions will be both covered in tomorrow's Legos Island episode. Also, there is an episode of Chilling on Sleepy PS tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. And I think that is actually it. Alright guys, goodbye! But seriously though, I hope you learned why Lab of Doom is even a thing. And I just love it. It's just cool just to see how that all went down. And if you want to know more about it, if you want to know more about how Lab of Doom was a thing, because I'm pretty sure I explained all of it here, I don't know, I might actually have forgotten something, I don't know, but I'm the only one who knows why Lab of Doom is a thing. Nobody else knows, except for me, and I guess Rose Crystal. That is all.